evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meteorologist Liam Kenny, and tonight I'll be talking about a very bad tragedy that happened last year in hurricane season. As many of you know, we actually had two bad hurricanes last year, Hurricane Florence and Hurricane Michael. We're not going to be talking about much of Hurricane Florence tonight, but we are definitely going to be talking about a lot of Hurricane Michael. Now, as many of you know, Michael did make landfall in the panhandle of Florida. This was a very bad hurricane. That was a Category 4 hurricane that made landfall in the middle of Panama City Beach, Florida, as a major Category 4 hurricane with sustained winds of 155 miles per hour. If this hurricane actually took the same path as Hurricane Katrina did, and also since the winds were 155 miles per hour by the time it made landfall, Category 5 is 160. So if it just went up 5 miles per hour, it would have been a Category 5. As many of you know, hurricane evacuations take place during hurricanes, and this was probably 2 weeks before the hurricane hit, so people were starting to get on the road before the hurricane hit. Michael begins to form. Well, like many other hurricanes, Michael started as a tropical storm and worked its way up to hurricane formation. Just so that you guys get an idea, this is the Florida Panhandle. These are the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, and this is Mexico. This is Michael right here. There's the eye right there, and then this is the outer bands. Now we are going to be tracking. Now Michael is a hurricane now, and we are tracking its path as it goes through the Gulf of Mexico, up through the Florida Panhandle, and through the Carolinas. Michael's path continued. Now this one I like because it also gives you the winds. So this is Wednesday. This is Wednesday night. It is 145. As it works its way into Georgia, it is down to a Category 1 hurricane. This is on Thursday. As we go into central South Carolina, and this is Thursday in the afternoon, it is down to a tropical storm with sustained winds at 45. And then as it's making its way back into the Atlantic, it stays still at 65 miles per hour. This is Hurricane Michael making landfall. And I think you guys can tell why this hurricane was so strong. Look how well defined that eye is. Not many hurricanes that you see around here have such a well-defined eye, and because there's just so many outer bands, you could just tell. Because Panama City is literally right on that dot, and Mexico City is right there. Now, even if you're in the eye, that's nothing. As long as you're right around the outside of that thing, that's the worst part, because that's the outer cloud wall. This is also a radar image, so that was a enhanced satellite picture. This is a radar, as you guys can see. Apalachicola is right there. Just west of that is actually Mexico City. And then you do have that very defined eye wall. And this is October 10th at 12:30 p.m. It is a Category 4 hurricane at this time with sustained winds of 155 miles per hour. Now how much money did this hurricane cause? This hurricane caused $4.6 billion. I will say it again, $4.6 billion. That is a lot of money. Now the next few slides will just show pictures of what some of the aftermath of Hurricane Michael looked like. This is Panama City Airport. These are planes, guys. These are all planes. They are completely submerged, and each one of those is probably 15 feet above the ground. That's nuts. This is Mexico City. This is before it, and this is after it. You can see these little houses right there? These are where these houses were. There is nothing left. Absolutely nothing left. And these are boats that were driven onto the land. It was absolutely crazy. This is Panama City. This is before when you have all these nice houses. And then on the left, you just see all that debris just shooken from those winds that came on shore. Because think about it. If you were in a house that during a hurricane with sustained winds of 155, almost 160, and plus back in 2017, I believe, we had Hurricane Irma Maria, where Hurricane Irma's winds were sustained of 185 miles per hour. That is the strongest wind ever. This is Tallahassee. See this tree completely uprooted, laying on that house. You have all this debris in the yard and everything. It's just so bad. Now this picture is actually really cool because this was actually taken from space by a few astronauts. And once again, this is the Florida Panhandle right there. there's the eye wall, and then these are all the outer bands. So even though this hurricane was just making landfall, it doesn't mean that people, 100 or so miles outside of this hurricane wasn't feeling the impacts. I mean, this is all cloud cover. I mean, even in the Gulf of Mexico, even though the hurricane is way past that, you're still getting tons of clouds. I mean, this hurricane was probably one of the biggest hurricanes and most destructive hurricanes that we've had since the 1990s. It was just so bad. And this was a house that was completely destroyed during Hurricane Michael. Unfortunately, we do have a flag down there. And we actually do have some house still standing. I know that they do have some damage to them, but nothing like this one. It's just awful. And these are all trees that fell down during the hurricane. And that's actually a car right there. And that's actually a house right there. There's nothing left of these trees. I mean, there's trees left, but I mean, they're completely either uprooted or just torn down onto people's houses. And I guess this guy and this guy are actually coming to help this man and woman, these elderly people. And that's what I love about after hurricanes, is that there's just so many people that if they still have their houses standing, they just look outside and they see all these people that have nothing left of their houses. And they're just so courteous that they give, pretty much half of what they have, and they just try and save these people's lives. I mean, it's absolutely amazing what people can actually do to help after a hurricane has hit. And once again, this actually looked kind of like the Joplin tornado that we had back a few years ago. These are people that I guess their houses were completely destroyed, and this is all the debris. This is the end of the presentation. Remember, no matter what is going on outside, anything could happen at any moment, so make sure to keep your eye on the sky. And just as extra information, the next page is just a list of upcoming weather broadcast dates. We have one actually this Friday, which is January 11th. We have one January 18th, January 25th, February 1st, and February 8th. Thank you guys so much for watching tonight. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel to make sure that you are not missing any weather videos. And I hope to see you on January 11th, which is the day after tomorrow, for another great weather broadcast. I will see you then.